Okay, so I'm just gonna go over, there's three types of questions that I would consider the hardest ones on this, the hardest ones on this test. There's also, which I'm not going over because we did yesterday, I'm not gonna go over the monthly payment formula. You'll have a chance to try that again in your review. You can try to get on your homework to make sure you have it consistent. Because again, the second thing with that huge monthly payment formula is if you plug it in wrong, even if you know you should be using it, you're going to get the answer wrong. So definitely practice that monthly payment formula. Make sure you're consistent with that. So let's go ahead and go through these. So I would consider this one of the harder questions. Oh, actually backtrack. Before doing your review or this review or taking your test, make sure your formula is all in one place. So again, guys, in Canvas, I just realized. Let me go to Canvas. I will cut this part out of the video. You got to see my Uber Eats order. Okay, so in Canvas, I do have the formulas up here at the top. If you just want to look at them, obviously you have a printer, you can print them out. But we did not do a couple of these. So there's a few things on here that we ended up not using just because I ended up crossing them out to save time. But the formulas are here. There's the monthly payment formula. If you ever want to refer to it, it's there, or you can look back through your notes and kind of just get all of your formulas that we've used all in one place. But like I said, this formula sheet is here. You can pull it up during the test. If you don't have your notes packet, you can pull it up right here. But let's go ahead and look at this. So example one, the reason why I call this one a hard problem is because there's two possibilities. You're going to be given an equation, right, that relates the relationship between how big an apartment is, the square footage, and how much it costs for rent, yeah? So if we were to plot these, we could get a line that would tell us, okay, well, as the square footage is going to increase, so does the rent. So the tricky part is that you are going to be given only one of these questions. So on your review, on the quizzes, there's actually two of them, but you're only going to be given one on the test. So you need to keep an eye out for which one it is, because in one situation, you're plugging into X and solving for Y. In the other situation, you're plugging into Y and solving for X. Let's see how we can tell the difference. So A says, what would be the monthly rent for an apartment that has 1,000 square feet? So I almost want you to think sometimes when you're reading these questions, you want to go blah, 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 1,000 square feet. Okay, good. So I'll start there. Because look what we have. It says X represents the square footage and Y represents the monthly rental price. So 1,000 square feet, is that X or is that Y? That is X. 1,000 square feet, X is square footage. So what this means is this goes in to X and we solve for Y. So let's do that real quick. We got Y equals, I'm solving for Y, so I'm not plugging into Y, 0.75. X goes here, 1,000 plus 200. So this one is really simple. You're lucky if you get this one because all you have to do is just plug this in the calculator because the Y is already by itself. So 0.75 times 1,000 plus 200, you get 950. So this is our answer. That's how much a 1,000 square foot apartment might cost. Again, a lot of times math is just an estimation tool. We're just estimating here. So that is one possibility. Now let's look at the next one. It goes blah, 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 rent of 800. That's what you want to almost think. Of course, go back and focus on what you are trying to find, but what you want to focus on first is what are you given? So I'm given $800. Looking at what that represents, it says X represents the square footage and Y represents the monthly rental price. This is a rent of 800. Is the 800 going to be X or Y? Well, now this is Y because Y represents the monthly rental price. And hey, this is rent, right? So here's how this is different. Y is right here. I need to plug it in where it goes. So 800 is going to get plugged over on this side. If I'm plugging into Y, I better not see a y in my equation, right? I'm replacing it. What that means is x is still there. So that means the right side of the equation still looks the same. Now, if you get this question, again, like I said, on your test, you're going to get one or the other. You're not going to get both. You have to be careful and to figure out which you got. Now, this one's trickier, unfortunately, because we have to actually solve it, right? If my x is right here, if I need to get this x by itself, well, I got to move everything over. So take a moment to solve that, and then we'll check. Well, hopefully, guys, again, we shouldn't get scared with this stuff. I solved this like any normal equation you've been solving since, honestly, like 6th grade. We should know how to do this, yeah? So, and maybe 7th or 8th grade. Still, we should know how to do this. 800 minus 200 is 600. I've got 0.75x. So 0.75 times x is what this is. Therefore, we should be dividing. So x equals 600 divided by 0.75. That's an x. Oh my gosh. So we get 800. Now again, for your test, obviously you don't have to write units because you should not be writing units. Otherwise, it will tell you your answer can't be put in that way. But this is square feet. If I go back, because again, x is square feet. So what this question was saying is, if I can afford that much for rent, this is about how big the apartment would be. Just a coincidence there that $800 ended up giving us 800 square feet. That was just a coincidence. So once more, on your test, you will only be given one of these. You're not going to plug into both y and then plug into x. So you have to understand how you know which is which because you're only going to do one or the other on the test. But again, you'll try this on your review as well, the quizzes on your own. So hopefully you can go through that thinking and say, okay, I'm given square feet, that's x, I plug into x. Or I'm given rent, that's y, I plug into y. And again, they are done differently. Okay, example 2. So this is the upfront cost. A couple of you guys struggled with this on the quiz because you weren't picking it apart. Again, I kind of skim over the first time and see the important information I need. So Alex is applying for an apartment with rent of $850. Now, right up front, careful, it does not say anything right here. Yes, it says rent of $850, but it doesn't say anything yet about him needing to pay that up front. So we're going to come back to that. He is given the following upfront costs. Okay, so here's where it tells us the costs. We have a $50 background check fee. What I would recommend you guys do, because again, on your test, you're just looking at your screen. Jot some notes down. So if this were me, I would jot down on my own piece of paper. Okay, I got a $50 background check fee. I got a security deposit of 30% of a month's rent. So I'm going to write that down. 30% of a month's rent. Again, this is what I would do if I was just working on my own piece of paper and first and last month's rent. So that I have these notes jotted down because sometimes, especially a word problem, looking at a word problem on the screen is really tricky. We rely so heavily on underlining and circling things. And if you can't underline or circle, then write down some notes of what you would have underlined or circled. So that may have been your guys' problem on the quiz, is that you didn't write anything down. You just read it and then you got jumbled up. Write some stuff down. So we need all this together. So we got 50. That's good to go. Now I need 30% of here's where the 850 comes in. Notice it does not say 850. It says 30% of 850. So I'm going to do it off the side here. Actually, I want you to go ahead and try it. 30% of 850. What should that be? Guys, again, we really should have down how to work with percents by now. 0.3 times 850. That is 30% of 850. 0.3 times 850 is 255. So this is the security deposit. This is 30% of 1 month's rent. That is the next one. And then we have first and last month's rent. So again, trying to remember what that means. First and last month's rent, mathematically, what am I going to add here? That's two 850s. 2 months rent, right? Here's first, here's last. Again, do not get confused by what it means by first and more importantly last. It just means 2 months of rent. So this means a total of 2,005. Notice again, I did not add an additional $850 here. I only focused on what they told me the upfront costs were. Yeah, $50, 30% of 1 month's rent, first and last month's rent. That's what I focused on. Yeah, so 2005 is our answer. Okay, last one here. So you will have to do on the test, like I said, the monthly payment formula. However, notice this goes. Jonathan and Kelly have an APR of 4.67 and a monthly payment of $1,000. That would have been found using the monthly payment formula. Therefore, you do not have to use the monthly payment formula if they give you the monthly payment. So be careful in this question. I might be doing that. I'm still debating how I want to do it. But you had a question like this in your homework. That is the monthly payment. Once again, you cannot do the monthly payment formula, you'll see, because we do not have a time length for the loan. We would need to know how many years they were paying it off, and so we can't do that. Doesn't matter anyways because they gave it to us. So what you need to do in this question is break it down. That is the monthly payment already. Good to go. You don't do the monthly payment formula if they already gave you the monthly payment. What we do need to do is figure out how much of this payment is going to go towards interest and how much will go towards principal. So we're going to have two answers. Yeah, how much is going towards interest and how much is going towards principal. So what you need to recall is there's a formula for the interest. Once we can find the interest, we can use that to find the principal, but we need to use the formula for the interest. So take a moment, look over your notes, your formula sheet. What is that formula for first month's interest? Okay, first month's interest, if you looked at your formula sheet, let me see if I can pull it back up again. It is right here in the very bottom. First month's interest, I equals P times R divided by 12. So I equals P times R divided by 12. So I'm going to do that real quick. Go ahead and try it yourself, actually. We know what our principal should be, it tells us. We know the interest rate, get it as decimal, and then check and see what we get for interest. Okay, the principal is 115,000 times, yes, R is 4.67, but more importantly, divided by 100. Common mistakes here, guys, 0.0467. Check it in your calculator if you do not know. By 12. Okay, so this is how much interest is going to be paid in 1 month. Times 0.0467 divided by 12. Okay, so this is 447.54. So that's our first answer. That's how much is just profit going into their pockets, right? That's the interest. Now again, out of $1,000, and I can rewrite this over here if it'll help us. This is how much is interest. How would I find how much left over is for principal? We should subtract, right? 1,000 minus 447. Right. You get 552.46. So these are our two answers. Again, on the test, I'll kind of see how I can work that. I might make it a multiple choice question, or I might do it as two separate questions. I'm kind of debating how I want to do that. So again, from here, you are now going to go do the quizzes on your own so that you can try these questions again, as well as everything else that's going to be on the test. Again, guys, the quizzes looks exactly like the test. So if you do the quizzes and you're good with it, you'll be good for the test.